My name is Sarah Wellness Elite. I am 50 years old, and honestly, I feel more powerful, more vibrant, and more alive today than I did when I was 25. People often look at me and ask what my secret is, thinking I found some magical pill or a hidden fountain of youth. But the truth is much simpler, though it took me years of trial and error to truly understand it. I realized a few years ago that my body is my greatest investment. It's the only place I have to live, and at 50, I decided I was done with the tired label. I was done feeling like my best years were behind me. Today, I'm sharing a revelation that changed how I eat, how I move, and how I see myself in the mirror every single morning. This isn't just about looking good in a swimsuit. It's about the brute strength and the mental clarity that comes when you stop guessing and start using science to fuel your life. If you're also tired of feeling like your metabolism has stalled, and you want to learn exactly how I gained lean muscle and stripped away stubborn fat without losing my mind, hit the subscribe button right now and leave a like. Let's get stronger together, because your second act is just beginning. You know, for the longest time, I was caught in the same trap as everyone else. I thought I had to eat 6 small meals a day to keep the metabolic fire burning. I thought if I didn't drink my protein shake within 30 minutes of lifting a dumbbell, all my hard work would just evaporate. It was exhausting. I was a slave to my Tupperware and my timer. But then, I sat down and really looked at the evidence. I learned that I had the hierarchy of importance all screwed up. I was so worried about the icing on the cake that I forgot to bake the actual cake. Let me explain what I mean by that, because once I understood this, the pressure just vanished. The cake is your total daily intake. That's the foundation. I learned that for someone like me, someone who wants to stay lean but keep that elegant musculature, the most important thing I can do is hit my total protein goal by the time I put my head on the pillow at night. Whether I eat that protein in 3 meals or 5, it rarely matters. I used to be a grazer, constantly snacking. Now I've found that having 4 solid meals, each with a good hit of protein, works best for my schedule. I stopped stressing about the timing. I stopped worrying if I missed a window. I just focused on the total. Honestly, it was a relief. I felt it in my body almost immediately. My energy levels stabilized, and I wasn't constantly thinking about my next meal. I remember standing in my kitchen looking at my goal weight. I weigh about 140 pounds, but I wanted to be a lean, strong 130. I did the math. To really protect my muscles as I lose fat, I need between 1.6 and 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of my goal weight. For me, that meant aiming for about 130 to 150 grams of protein a day. At first, that felt like a mountain. I thought, how on earth am I going to eat that much? But then I realized how easy it could be if I stopped overcomplicating it. I started making these thick, delicious protein smoothies. 2 scoops of a high-quality powder, some almond milk, maybe a handful of greens. Boom! That's 50 grams right there. I do 2 of those a day, and suddenly more than half my work is done. The rest comes from real whole foods: chicken, fish, eggs. I eat about 20 eggs a week now. I love the taste, and they are a powerhouse for my hormones. Speaking of hormones, let's talk about the elephant in the room: menopause. I hit my mid-40s and felt like the rules of the game had changed. My joints ached, my sleep was a mess, and I started seeing this soft layer around my midsection that I'd never had before. I was scared. I'd heard all the gurus say that once you hit menopause, you're doomed to gain weight and lose your muscle. But I found the research, specifically something called the SWAN study. It's the largest study of its kind, and it showed that the average fat gain during the entire menopausal transition is only about 3.5 pounds. It's not an insurmountable wall. It's just a period of high stress. I realized that my struggle wasn't just hormonal, it was lifestyle. At 50, I'm dealing with more stress than ever. Aging parents, my career, my kids. All of that takes a toll on my NEAT, my non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That's a fancy way of saying I was moving less without realizing it. When we're stressed or dieting, we stop fidgeting. We sit more. We lose that pep in our step. I had to consciously decide to keep moving. I started taking long walks, not just for the calories, but for my sanity. I kept my protein high to protect my muscle mass, because muscle is the metabolic engine of my body. It's greedy, it wants calories, and I want it to stay greedy so I can stay lean. I remember a specific moment when I felt like I had hit a plateau. I hadn't seen the scale move in 3 weeks. In the past, I would have panicked and slashed my calories even further. But I learned about maintenance practice. I realized that a plateau is just my body doing its job. It's achieving homeostasis. It's trying to keep me alive. So instead of fighting it, I took a diet break. For 1 week, I ate at my maintenance calories. I didn't go crazy and eat everything in sight, no YOLO eating, but I relaxed the restrictions. I felt my mental fatigue lift. My strength in the gym came back. And you know what happened? When I went back to my slight deficit the following week, the weight started dropping again. It was like I had to prove to my body that I wasn't starving it. I want to give you a visual that helped me stay focused when I only lost a pound a week. Think about a stick of butter. That's 4 ounces. 4 sticks of butter make a pound. When I lost 10 pounds of fat, I visualized 40 sticks of butter being removed from my frame. Imagine 10 pounds of butter sitting on your kitchen counter. It's a massive amount of yellow, greasy mass. When you realize that losing just 1 pound a week is like taking 4 sticks of butter off your body, you stop feeling like your progress is slow. You start feeling like a champion. Every 10 pounds I lost, I took a break. I celebrated that butter milestone. It made the journey sustainable. I also had to get real about supplements. I don't believe in magic, but I do believe in optimization. Every morning I take my multivitamins, my fish oil for my heart, and my vitamin D3. But there's one thing I call the king, and that's creatine. I know people think it's just for 20-year-old guys trying to get huge arms, but for a 50-year-old woman, it's a miracle for my brain and my bones. It helps with my memory, it gives me that extra bit of strength to finish my last set in the gym, and it keeps my muscles hydrated and full. It's one of the most researched substances on the planet. I don't go a day without it. I've seen the difference in the mirror. My muscles look tighter, not bulky, just firm. I've had to make some hard choices, too. I looked at people like Alan, who had to overcome huge obstacles to get where they are. He talked about his struggle with alcohol, and it resonated with me. Not because I was an alcoholic, but because I had my own anxiety band-aids. I had habits that weren't serving me. I had to learn to play the tape forward. Whenever I'm tempted to skip a workout or eat something that I know will make me feel like garbage the next day, I visualize the outcome. I picture the hour of satisfaction followed by the day of regret. I picture the brain fog and the missed opportunity to get stronger. It takes me about 60 seconds to realize it's not worth it. I choose my investment. I choose me. I also stopped vilifying foods. I used to be terrified of fruit because someone told me it had too much sugar. Can you believe that? I was scared of an apple but would drink a diet soda without thinking. I looked at the evidence and saw that fresh fruit actually improves blood sugar and helps with weight loss. It's full of water and fiber. Now I love my berries and my melons. I keep my added sugars, the refined stuff, to about 10% of my diet. That's my discretionary allowance. It lets me live a real life. If I want a piece of high-quality dark chocolate or a nice dessert on a date night, I have it. I don't feel guilty. I just make sure the other 90% of my day is fuel. Training-wise, I'm in the gym 4 to 5 days a week. I don't just do cardio, I lift. I want that brute strength that comes from moving heavy things. I don't always go to total failure on my big lifts like squats or deadlifts because I want to be safe. But on the machines and the smaller exercises, I push until I can't move the weight another inch. I want to feel that burn. I want to know I've triggered my body to keep that precious muscle. I've learned that I don't need to be in there for 2 hours. 45 minutes of focused, intense work is plenty. I get in, I do the work, and I get out to live my life. One thing that surprised me was the muscle memory phenomenon. There were times when life got in the way and I couldn't train for a couple of weeks. I was terrified I'd lose everything. But our bodies are amazing. Once you've built that foundation, your neurological system remembers how to do it. When I got back to the gym, my strength returned much faster than the first time I built it. It's like the blueprints are already stored in my cells. That realization gave me so much peace. A week off isn't a failure, it's just a pause. I've also had to learn how to ignore the noise. There are so many coaches out there trying to sell the next big detox or juice fast. I've realized those are just ways to crash off bad decisions. They don't build long-term health. They don't protect your muscle. They just leave you tired and hungry. I stopped looking for the shortcut. I started looking for the standard. The standard is protein, resistance training, and enough sleep to let the magic happen. I think about the gut microbiome, too. People act like it's the master puppeteer of our weight. While it's important, I learned it's not the main driver. I don't need expensive gut-fixing supplements. I just need to eat a variety of whole foods and stay active. When I do that, my digestion fixes itself. My skin starts to glow. My energy stays high. It's all connected, but it starts with the big rocks, the protein and the calories. I remember talking to a friend who was struggling with PCOS. She felt like her body was broken, like she was destined to be overweight. We talked about how focusing on fat loss and managing carbohydrate intake, not cutting them out entirely but being smart about them, could change everything. She started prioritizing her protein and doing some light resistance training, and her cycles actually started to regulate. It was a reminder that our bodies want to be healthy. They want to function correctly. We just have to give them the right environment. The most profound change, though, hasn't been in my biceps or my waistline. It's been in my mind. I stopped seeing my workouts as a punishment for what I ate. I started seeing them as a celebration of what I can do. At 50, being able to pick up heavy grocery bags, or run up a flight of stairs, or have the endurance to play with my grandkids, that is the real elite lifestyle. I am an advanced trainee now. I've moved past the beginner phase where everything happens at once. My progress is slower now, maybe a pound or two a month of fat loss, but it's real progress. It's permanent progress. I look back at photos of myself from 10 years ago, and honestly, I look older then. I was stressed, I wasn't eating enough protein, and I was doing too much empty cardio. I didn't have the muscle tone I have now. I didn't have the confidence. Today I look in the mirror and I see a woman who is in control. I see the silver in my hair and the strength in my shoulders, and I love it. I refuse to buy into the narrative that women disappear after 50. I am louder, stronger, and more visible than ever. I've learned that the hard gainer or slow metabolism labels are often just a lack of awareness. We think we're eating more than we are, or we think we're moving more than we are. When I started tracking my protein, I was shocked at how little I was actually getting. Once I hit that 1.6 grams per kilogram, everything changed. My recovery improved. My hunger disappeared. My body composition shifted. It wasn't a miracle, it was math. I want you to understand that this journey is yours. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. You have to make your health priority number 1, not priority 5, behind the laundry and the emails and the Netflix. Priority 1. When you make yourself a priority, the world doesn't fall apart. In fact, you become better at everything else because you have more energy and more focus. You become the mentor, the leader, the vibrant presence that everyone else respects because you lead by example. I've had to answer a lot of questions about fast weight loss. People have a wedding or a vacation and they want the weight off yesterday. I tell them, sure, you can crash diet. You can lop off a third of your calories and keep your protein sky high. You'll lose weight. But you'll also lose strength, and you'll likely gain it back because you haven't built the habits. I'd rather you lose it slowly. I'd rather you take a year to lose 50 pounds and keep it off forever than lose 20 pounds in a month and be back where you started by Christmas. Every time I'm tempted to go back to my old ways, I think about the legacy I'm leaving. I want to be the woman who is still lifting weights at 80. I want to be the one who is still walking on the beach with a sharp mind and a strong heart. That future version of me is counting on the 50-year-old version of me to do the work today, and I won't let her down. I've realized that the environment matters too. I love being outside. I love the sun on my skin and the air in my lungs. I think being close to nature, whether it's a forest or the ocean, has a metaphysical effect on our longevity. It lowers our cortisol. It reminds us that we are part of something bigger. I make it a point to get outside every single day. It's part of my Wellness Elite protocol. So here is my final invitation to you. Don't wait for a rock-bottom moment to change. Don't wait for a doctor to give you a scary diagnosis. Start today. Start with 1 more gram of protein. Start with 1 more walk. Start by looking in the mirror and deciding that you are worth the investment. You are not aging out. You are leveling up. My mission is to build a community of people who refuse to fade away. We are the Prime 50. We are the ones who show the world what is possible when you combine science with soul and discipline with grace. I want you to be part of this journey with me. I want to hear your stories of how you reclaimed your strength. If you're ready to commit to your own transformation, I want you to do something for me. I want you to leave a comment below with a simple, powerful phrase in English that reflects your commitment. Just type, "I am strong." Let that be your anchor today. Every time you see that notification or look back at that comment, remember that you made a promise to yourself. Let's stop being afraid of the scale and start being excited about the gym. Let's stop worrying about the perfect time to eat and just focus on fueling our greatness. You have the tools now. You have the hierarchy. Get your protein, lift your weights, and practice your maintenance. I'll be here, lifting right alongside you. Would you like me to help you calculate your specific protein needs based on your current weight and goals?